In this video, we will learn in a very simple language what is an index fund, and I will share with you which is my favorite index fund. Hi everyone and welcome to the video. Now before we understand what is an index fund, let's in simple language first understand what is an index. Now you must have heard of terms like Sensex, Nifty, Nifty 100, Nifty Next 50, banking index or IT index, right? So what are these? What are they representing? So to understand that, let's take an analogy of a classroom. Let's say there is a class of 50 people and the class teacher says, I want to form an index called top 10 index, in which I will calculate the marks of top 10 students in the class in an examination, and the average of that will be displayed on the board, on the notice board. Let's say it is 85% for the top 10 students of the class in the recently held examination, right? So that's called top 10 index value as on today. Now the next examination happens and the average comes down to, let's say, 83%. So now the index has moved from 85 to 83%, right? Let's take another example. Another teacher comes and she says, I want to form an index called mathematics index. So I want to see the entire class performance on an average in the subject called mathematics. And with every unit test or with every examination, I will keep on updating that index and I will see how the performance is going up and down, right? Another teacher comes and she says, I want to form something called a sports index. So let's say there are 8 students in the class who are very actively involved in sports, right? So they will form a sports index to see how are these 8 students performing in different subjects. They can form sports English index or sports language index or sports mathematics index or sports science index. They can form index within that as well, right? And see how are these students who are more inclined towards sports, how are they performing in different subjects, right? Now, bring this to stock market. There are 2 class teachers, NSE and BSE, that is National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. So Bombay Stock Exchange comes and says, I am forming an index called Sensex, which will represent the stock price of top 30 companies put together. Now what is top 30 companies? Top 30 companies by size. For example, we have the biggest company as Reliance, then TCS and SDFC and so on. So the top 30 companies by size, I'll form an index called Sensex and I'll display the stock price of all these companies put together with a number on a daily basis. And that's what we call as Sensex. So if Sensex is, for example, 58,000 or 60,000 or 56,000, it just shows where the consolidated stock price of these companies put together stands as on today, right? Now don't go into the calculation, it's not important in terms of understanding the concept, but yes, that's how the Sensex is represented. Now the other class teacher comes and she says, that is NSE, and they say that we want to form an index called Nifty 50. Now instead of 30 companies, we will have 50 companies in our index, again by size, and we'll display to the public on a daily basis, even for every second basis, where that index is going based on the stock price of those 50 companies in the market. So that's called Nifty 50 index, right? I hope this example made it clear what exactly is an index per se. Now you can form as many index as possible for whatever thing you want to create. You can form a bank index which will have all the banking stocks put together and what is the banking index, how is the banking index moving. You can have an index for pharma companies, you can have an index for auto companies, you can have an index for mid-cap companies, you can have an index for next 50. What is next 50? From 51st rank to 100th rank is next 50, right? Nifty 50 is top 50 companies, Nifty next 50 is from 51st to 100, right? Now, what's the significance of this? Now, as you must have, noticed in the case of class teacher, it will help them analyze the performance of the students. Similarly, the indices will help the investors like you and me to analyze the stock performance or a sector performance or maybe a performance of a certain category of stocks. Now, imagine it, take it like that. Let's say there is no index. There are no indices available in the market. And you get up in the morning in the Monday and you want to see where the market is going. How will you check? You have to check each and every company. This went up this much, this went up this much, went down this much, and you have to maybe do your own maths and calculate where is the overall market going, or where is a particular sector going, or where are the top 30 or top 10 companies going, right? Whereas you have index to tell you what is happening broadly in the market. So that gives you a sense of direction where the market is going. So that's the significance of having an index. Plus you can always compare how is the banking industry doing compared to a pharma industry, right? How an IT industry is doing compared to a automobile industry. So that index will tell you how is the performance of stocks in that company or that industry is doing over a period of, let's say, 6 months or 1 year or 5 year or 10 year, whatever you want to do, right? So that's the significance of having an index. Now coming to what is an index fund. Now, you know what is a mutual fund? A mutual fund, a fund manager or a mutual fund scheme or a mutual fund company invest in a set of stocks. And investors like me and you, all of us, we can invest in that mutual fund scheme, and our money is going in those set of stocks which the fund manager has selected after the research. Now, in case of an index fund, there is no research done by the fund manager because the name is saying index fund. So let's say it's an index fund of Sensex or Nifty index fund. So what will that index fund do? They will simply copy paste and buy the same stocks which are there in that particular index. The fund manager is not supposed to apply his brain. He's just supposed to copy paste, Control C, Control V. Now, if there is a change in the index, for example, 2 stocks move out of Sensex and 2 new stocks enter into Sensex, the fund manager will do the same. He will sell those 2 stocks from his portfolio, from the scheme's portfolio, and buy the new stocks which have entered into that index. Simple. And that's why it is also, this kind of investing is also called passive investing, because the fund manager is not actively researching, not doing active research to select which stocks to invest into, right? The other mutual fund schemes, the equity mutual fund schemes you invest into, that's called active investment, because there the fund manager is supposed to do the research and then come out with a list of stocks in which the scheme should invest into, right? So that's what an index fund is in a very simple language. I hope this concept was clear. Now, coming to the last part, that is, which index fund do I invest in, which one do I like the most? Firstly, let's understand which indices I don't invest into and what's the reason behind that. Number one, I don't invest in small cap and mid cap index. I don't believe in that because, if you look at the returns of actively managed small cap schemes and mid cap schemes, they are doing better than the index funds in the long run. I mean, don't look at last 6 months, 1 year, 2 year. I typically look at 5-year return because that's like a sweet spot. It's not very long tenure, it's not a very short tenure, and it will give you in a very rational manner what is the performance of the scheme, right? So if you look at the 5-year or maybe beyond that, you will find that the actively managed funds in these 2 categories, mid cap and small cap, has done better, right? In large cap, it's the other way around, especially in the last few years since a couple of SEBI rules have changed. The index funds have started doing better than the actively managed funds. And within large cap also, there are multiple different kinds of index fund. For example, Sensex index fund is there, Nifty index fund is there, Nifty 100 or BSE 100 index fund is there, where all the 100 large cap companies are invested into. And there is something called Nifty Next 50 index fund, where 51st rank to 100th rank companies are where the fund is investing into. So out of all these funds, based on the concentration of the fund, based on the performance, based on the future growth prospect, my favorite fund is Nifty Next 50 index fund. In my view, it is like a large cap companies, but still having a lot of growth potential left. It's like they behave like mid cap, but they are technically they are large cap, right? So if you look at the performance of these companies or this index in the past, you will see that why the kind of returns it has given. Now that doesn't mean it will give returns in the future as well, but as I said, these set of stocks behave like mid-cap companies. And also look at the way it is working. The companies from 101st rank, which comes in the mid-cap category, when they grow, they will move into this index, Nifty Next 50, and they most likely will continue with their growth journey, right? And a lot of companies from this Nifty Next 50 index will also move to Nifty index and also to Sensex index as the companies keep on growing. So we are a part of that set of companies which are most likely in their growth phase. right? So that's how I look at it. Now, this is not a recommendation. Please don't go and buy this index fund just based on this one video. Please do your own research. I've just given you one small portion of my total investment, which I'm putting into this. I mean, I'm investing into this, I'm investing into an ETF of this index fund, but that's one portion of my investment, not my only investment. So don't go and put a large portion of your investment into this index fund or ETF. Yeah. But I hope the concept of what is an index, what is the significance of index, what is an index fund, and this concept is clear to you, and now you can see the different kinds of index funds available in the market and judge for yourself which one suits you the most. If you like this video, please press on like, share with your friends, and subscribe to this channel, and please leave your comments on what more you want to listen from us. Thank you so much.